And it's fine. Just boring fuck, dude. He landed a head kick in round 2. And other than that, he did nothing! For 20 minutes! He did fucking nothing! That's the truth! 0! He caught him with a head kick in round 2. And other than that, he did fucking nothing! The whole fight!
Rangy, strong guy who has great takedown defense. I mean, if you look at his takedown defense tonight against Islam, it was impressive. I felt like, I think that Ian is a talented guy. If he had even an ounce of killer instinct in that 5th round, you know, he had been beating him to the body. Islam's whole, I think, right side was beat up. His face was beat up. You don't come out and hug and shake hands in the fight. That shit drives me fucking crazy when there's so much at stake, and there's also you know, a lot of mental you know, gamesmanship, whatever you want to call it in this game. You come out in that 5th round with a flying knee or something crazy and you try to finish the fight. I think that this is one of those fights that Ian will go back and watch and say, fuck.
UFC 330 just wrapped up seconds ago in the Philadelphia, as the cool kids say, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. First time since 2019 that the UFC held an event there. That was a fight night event headlined by Justin Gaethje versus Edson Barbosa in March of 2019. This time around, they come back with the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, Islam Makhachev, who makes history. 17 wins in a row for Islam Makhachev. He retains his welterweight title. As GC just said, if you were watching the post show, and the watch party, tremendous job by both GC and Rick. A, for the watch party, but B, for like actually doing it in those outfits for the entire time. I mean, the dedication to the bit. Primo, 5th fighter to defend a title in 2 different weight classes. Perhaps most importantly, in my opinion, 17th win in a row, breaking Anderson Silva's record, which was 16 wins in a row. He did not break.
I felt like tonight was set up for the upset. I felt like the upset could happen tonight with so much on the line, all the records that Islam has, and he's going to break Anderson Silva's record. There's weight classes for a reason. Ian Garry is a big, rangy, strong guy who has great takedown defense. I mean, if you look at his takedown defense tonight against Islam, it was impressive. I think that Ian is a talented guy. If he had even an ounce of killer instinct in that 5th round, you know, he had been beating him to the body. Islam's whole, I think, right side was beat up. His face was beat up. You don't come out and hug and shake hands in the fight. That shit drives me fucking crazy when there's so much at stake, and there's also you know, a lot of mental you know, gamesmanship, whatever you want to call it in this game. You come out in that 5th round with a flying knee or something crazy and you try to finish the fight. I think that this is one of those fights that Ian will go back and watch and say, fuck, wish I could do that over again. You know, if he came out and tried to destroy and win that last round, you know, with everything that he had, I think it's a totally different fight. Islam went out, you know, it's the complete opposite now, against a bigger, strong, rangy guy who has good takedown defense, controlled him, shut him down. I don't know if he was in his head and Ian felt like he had to come out and shake hands in the 5th round or whatever, but, you know, Islam did exactly what he needed to do to win that fight. When I went in after the fight and Ian Garry came over and shook my hand, Ian Garry's handshake is like a fucking vice grip, you know, and he is a big, powerful, rangy guy. And, you know, for Islam to go in and do what he did to him tonight, you know, physical and mental. If you to come out of that fucking corner like a raging fucking bull, you know, we might be having a different conversation right now.
Do you feel like Ian's too nice to his opponents? At the press conference, he wanted to build Islam up. He's been nice about him all week.
I think that Ian's a classy guy is what I think. And, you know, he always shows class. He did, you know, before the fight, he goes over and shakes, you know, all the corners' hands and all that stuff. It's great. But when that fucking bell rings, you got to switch. You got to switch all that shit off and go. And you definitely got to do it in the 5th round after the, you know, he fought a great fight against Islam, who, you know, everybody in this room and everybody else is saying, well, we might start talking about GOAT. You don't go shake the fucking GOAT's hand going into the 5th round. You come out to fucking annihilate him. I mean, that just has to be your mindset. In my humble opinion.
Yeah, I mean, look, he did what he had to do and was really tested in ways that we haven't seen him tested before. I mean, it was a difficult fight. Although he won by, you know, a good margin, a healthy margin, there was moments where you're used to Islam having a certain amount of control and dominance that he just didn't seem to have over the bigger guys. And this is the question. As he's moved up to 170, there's some guys like Morales that are absolutely gigantic. And what happens if he fights those guys? The gap is bigger than it is with Ian Garry. Ian, again, out of the 10 victories that he's had inside the octagon, he's only had 3 stoppages. Morales killed.
The fight is done, the result is in, and now it's time to go back in time. Islam Makhachev and Ian Machado Garry finally got to settle their long-awaited bout. The experts had made their picks before the action even started. Fighters, coaches, and analysts had plenty to say about how this matchup would play out, from confident predictions to bold claims about who had the stylistic edge. With the truth revealed about what happened inside the octagon, there's only one question remaining. Who saw it coming, and who missed it entirely? Chael Sonnen felt that Makhachev's biggest concern was never what was going to happen when the fight hit the mat. He said Islam had already shown how much of a force he could be on the ground against top-tier opponents, so it's hard to see Ian Garry being much of a threat there. Sonnen decided that the real question was whether Islam could get Garry down from the start and do so consistently. Sonnen thought that Islam's hesitation with Garry's size, movement, range, and takedown defense was not knowing if he could get the takedowns and keep Garry on the ground for 5 full rounds.
I don't think that Islam believes he'll have a problem once he gets him there. I mean, Islam is just so damn dominant on the ground. I mean, he passed the side control, trapped up Jack Del Maddalena, 25 straight minutes. He essentially toyed with Charles Oliveira to the point that he said they should take Charles's black belt away. So I don't believe once we get to the ground that Islam has any trepidation. So what is it? The punches and the kicks, the range? Well, those things aren't a problem if you're going to take the guy down. So I believe by this process of elimination, I've now identified what Islam sees as the problem. He's not confident he can go out and take Ian Garry down. He's not confident that he can just get him down and take him there and keep him there for 20.
That concern grew also when Sonnen quoted Islam's implication about Garry. He pointed out that Islam had previously warned that Garry could have been a bigger threat than Ilia Topuria, who at the time had been the #1 fighter in the world and a divisional champion, to Sonnen, who had demonstrated the magnitude of the threat to Islam. And he thought the fight would have eventually gone Islam's way, but didn't expect it to end early, thinking the action could have gone to the 4th round.
There's something within Ian Garry, or Islam believes Ian Garry is more dangerous than Ilia Topuria. That's a huge compliment. Don't forget, 8 weeks ago, Ilia Topuria was ranked #1 in the world while being a divisional champion at the same time. Like, don't forget that. It was at that time that Islam still said that kid is a bigger threat. That means something. Ian Garry by knockout. I would not As a gambling man and the son of a gambler, I would not wage a round, though I think it's going to be 4. I would give a good look to a prop bet that's over 2.5. This is not gambling advice. This is just the smartest guy you know sharing an expert opinion.
Then Henry Cejudo also said he hadn't ruled out Garry and believes the Irishman's size, movement, jab, and ability to attack the lead leg could have made things difficult for Makhachev. He thought Islam would be good with his wrestling, but he thought the bigger question was, could he control Garry when the fight went to the ground? Cejudo also pointed to Garry's competitive nature and knack for finding ways to win, saying his former opponents had demonstrated how hard he could have been to deal with. Cejudo finished by saying that Garry was underestimated and warned that the stylistic matchup could have made the fight far more competitive than many anticipated.
So now what I'm saying is you cannot ride off a guy that is 6'3", can get him to his feet, uses the jab, and then kicks the lead leg very, very well. You know, will Islam take him down? Yes. Now, could Islam control him in Dagestani? I mean, that to me, that's the biggest answer, because when it comes to the feet too, he as much as people do not like him, as much as like you cannot hate on the competitive spirit that this dude have. He probably doesn't finish people like people want to, but he does get his hand raised. I mean, he did it too. Look, a guy like MVP, is very hard to fight. I'm just saying that different stylistic fight than a guy like Islam Makhachev. But remember, man, like he's a bigger welterweight too, man. And I just feel like people are really counting out Ian Garry out, and that wouldn't so damn much. This dude believes that. I mean, he's got a space on his wall saying he's going to do it, but styles make fight, Kamaru.
Whereas Kamaru Usman had warned that simply keeping the fight standing would not have been enough for Garry to beat Makhachev. He explained that Islam had been excellent at controlling distance, sliding away from pressure, and forcing opponents to move at his pace while always threatening a level change. Usman compared it to a kind of rhythm that Islam had mastered, keeping fighters in front of him and making them react on his terms. Unless Garry could disrupt that rhythm and force Islam out of his comfort zone, Usman had struggled to see how he could win, especially because Islam had also possessed dangerous and underrated striking on the feet.
Is very, very good at being able to slide back, slide to the side, just keep you at that range, because you can't rush him. If you rush him, I change levels, I put you down. And so it keeps guys there, and you just kind of, Islam does this thing, and I remember there was at one point where I was just kind of there. When I do this dance where you just kind of hypnotize everybody. They just stay right in front of you. They just do what you want. They just move into your rhythm, move into your dance. And Islam does such a phenomenal job right now at that. It's almost like he's not getting out of third gear. He just kind of stays in third gear. And if Ian Garry cannot get him out of third gear, I'm sorry. I just don't see how he gets it done. Just staying on your feet alone is not enough, because Islam's not bad on his feet. He's not. Islam has really good striking. So that I just don't think that alone, I don't think is enough to.
With that in mind, Max Holloway also believed the fight would be much more competitive than most people thought. He believed Garry's reach would trouble Islam Makhachev in the first 2 rounds, as Islam would have taken time to get the distance right. But Holloway thought the longer the fight went, the more the advantage would swing Islam's way. Holloway was expecting a vintage Makhachev performance where Islam took over through pressure, top position, and ground strikes. If Islam could close the distance and get Garry against the cage and work to get the fight to the ground.
A lot of people are giving Ian no shot, which is blowing my mind. I think this is going to be a way more competitive fight than people think. I think early on, it's 5 rounds. Early on, I think so in the first 2 rounds, I think so Islam is going to have problems with Ian's reach, just trying to figure him out. At the end of the day, the longer the fight goes on, Islam only gets stronger. I think so if Islam can get his hands on him, Islam can drag him down, and we're just going to see a vintage Makhachev victory, you know. Does he submit him? I don't know. Maybe he just pressure him, get on top. controls, you know, some ground and pound here and there. I think the fight is going to be super competitive in the first 2 rounds. And then once Islam figure out that reach, and cuts Ian off and gets him against the cage and drag him to the ground, I think so Makhachev is going to be end still.
After that, Holloway said that he thought Islam will find a way to figure out Gary's range and get inside, where he can go back to his normal style of dominating his opponents while being on top. He thought that the first 2 rounds would be the hardest for Islam, particularly since Gary was good at keeping his distance and was able to defend himself against many takedowns in the beginning. However, Holloway believed that the pressure that Islam will put on him would break him down in the latter rounds, making Islam the one to take control starting with the 3rd round. Moreover, Tim Welch had acknowledged that the fight represented the biggest opportunity of Gary's career, but he still believed Makhachev would have entered the matchup completely prepared. Welch pointed to Khabib's influence, saying he would not have allowed Islam to treat the training camp casually or overlook such an important challenge. With Islam's legacy at stake, Welch expected him to arrive in peak condition and take the fight seriously from the opening bell. Despite Gary's potential to cause problems, Welch remained confident in Islam's ability to impose his game and ultimately predicted that Makhachev would submit Gary in the 3rd round. Welch's prediction was far from the only one that had favored Islam, as Demetrius Johnson had also backed the champion to get the job done. Johnson expected the matchup to be a highly technical fight rather than a chaotic war, believing Islam had the tools to win wherever the fight went. However, he felt the outcome would have depended heavily on Gary's approach. If Gary had relied on constant movement and made Islam chase him, Johnson expected a decision. But if Islam had closed the distance, secured takedowns, and passed Gary's guard, Johnson believed the fight could have ended in a finish. While Johnson had leaned toward Makhachev, Israel Adesanya had given a much more complicated prediction. Adesanya admitted that if he had to put his money on one fighter, he would have chosen Islam, pointing to the champion's ability to repeatedly prove doubters wrong and his success at welterweight. However, Adesanya was also drawn to the possibility of Ian Garry pulling off a career-defining upset. He believed Garry had reached a point where he could prove himself against the best in the world. In the end, Adesanya backed Islam with his head, but picked Garry with his heart because he loved the possibility of an unexpected, unforgettable story. Following Adesanya's split prediction, Wade Plemons had also acknowledged that Garry had a real path to victory, even though he ultimately favored Makhachev. Plemons noted that Islam had shown occasional openings in his striking and believed Garry could exploit them if he stayed composed and used his size and reach effectively. However, he felt Gary's biggest challenge would have been stopping Islam's takedowns and keeping the fight standing long enough to outpoint him. Plemons ultimately leaned toward an Islam submission, while also admitting Garry could have won by decision or even scored a knockout if he successfully neutralized Islam's grappling. So, what do you think about these predictions, and which expert do you think got it the most wrong? Now that we know how the fight actually played out, it's time to look back and see who truly understood the matchup and who completely missed the mark. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more fight breakdowns, predictions, and UFC content.